You are now in tune to the Keys to the City podcast.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another edition, a very special day in my heart, as well as we are mere hours from the 2023 NFL Draft in Kansas City this year. Remember when it was just at Radio City Music Hall, Ted? It was just in New York. Now it's like all over these venues, and it's fascinating how they've definitely changed it, but I don't like how they've made it more like Hollywood-esque in the sense of like the red carpet. They make a big deal about it. I just miss the old days sometimes. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? It's 2023. Yes, it is that time. Our first round, our sixth annual NFL Keys to the City first round mock draft.
Why is there K2 TTC?
Keys to the City. Oh, whatever. Did I spell it wrong?
Yeah, it's only one T.
Damn. I put the 2 and the T. Can you believe that? It's okay. You know what? Sometimes you make mistakes in life, Ted. You bounce back and you recover and you just keep moving forward, as they always like to say, right? So,
hey, don't worry. You forgot there was 2 outs or 1 out and you ran with the ball in the air.
What are you talking about? I never did
baseball. That. You were rounding the bases. You pulled Manny Machado.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Don't lie. So here's how the rule. So here's how
the other night you called a timeout when you had no more timeouts left.
Yeah, I'm like Chris Webber, baby. I'm like Chris Webber. Anyways, so this is how it's going to be. Yes, we know that there's going to be trades tonight. It's inevitable. It happens every year. We're going to stick to how we've been always doing it. 6 years in, we don't do trades. We're going to have it just the way it is. The updated first round after the Aaron Rodgers big news. Wow. It finally is official. Thank God, Ted. Thank God. About time. But Ted's going to get he gets the number 1 pick every year.
Actually, I almost wish I got the evens picks because it makes it better for me, but that's okay.
Do you want to change it?
No, it's okay. I like being number 1. I like being number 1.
So this is how
6 straight years I got the number 1 pick.
Ted's going to get the number. He gets it in the NBA All-Star draft too. I never get the number 1 pick. It's all right. I'm number 1 in other people's hearts.
Even when I let you pick the coin, even when I let you flip the coin and pick it for yourself, you still couldn't get it.
Ted, don't worry, Ted. You can be number 1 in this.
Don't worry, luck is on my side.
I'll be number 1 in everybody else's heart. I don't know about that because I was just at the Miami Heat game the other night, and I thought I brought some good luck for the Heat. We'll keep an eye on that series, though. So, Ted, it's official. It's underway. We are, like I said, mere hours. So, Ted, the Carolina Panthers are on the clock, and you get the opportunity to select which quarterback. It's just like who's going to be the quarterback. It's nothing else. There's nothing else.
As much as we want to make drama of this, let's not make much drama of this. They came up for one guy. They came up for the former Heisman Trophy winner. So the Carolina Panthers, with their number 1 pick, are going to take Bryce Young from Alabama.
Wow. It's so obvious.
I feel like for me at this point, everything I've read, and because I read everything. I read Matt Miller's, I read Shay's, Kuiper's, I go to the NFL.com. I read all the guys. As much as it could be any one of these 4 quarterbacks, and I joked with you before we started the show that all 4 of these guys could have a potential number 1 value on them. Anthony Richardson has the biggest upside of any quarterback. Levis has all the traits. Stroud might be the best pocket passer. But I just think when everyone's putting it all together, let's not get complicated. Bryce Young, who feels like he's been the best quarterback the past few years, becomes the number 1 quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. And Frank Wright has his guy.
Okay. Pretty easy. I mean, it was a quarterback. We got no shock. Now this is where the fun begins. The Houston Texans. There is a lot of smoke and mirrors. Are we actually going to see a trade? Are we going to see a defensive player? We're going to see a quarterback. Ted, they do have the number 12 pick. So it does get interesting. Maybe they move back up into the top 10 and draft a quarterback if one of these quarterbacks fall. We don't know how it's going to play out tonight. But with the second pick, I'm going with the best football player in this draft. I'm going to go with outside linebacker Will Anderson. He's an Alabama guy, DeMeco Ryans, and I don't know why people are like kind of discrediting this guy because this guy I know people say Bryce Young was the best player in college football. I mean, Will Anderson was probably the best player in college football. I know Aiden Hutchinson got some Heisman votes last year, but this man deserved to be possibly in the voting as well. I think he finished 5th. This guy does it all. They need pieces everywhere, this team. And like I said, They still have number 12, so they can try to move up into the top 10 if Levis, Richardson, or maybe CJ Stroud falls out of the top 5. So, Ted, I know it's a bit of a surprise, but I'm going to go with Will Anderson. Texas could do a lot of things here. I'm going to go with outside backer and edge rusher, Will Anderson.
Hey, quick question before we get to the number 3 pick with the Arizona Cardinals. Over or under 51% that the pick gets traded? On your thought process right now, tonight.
I would say they're going to try to make a trade. I don't see it happening. I think they're going to stay put. I think it's all smoke and mirrors. And I think they're going to take the best player in this draft and try to build that defense where they had a Jadeveon Clowney and a J.J. Watt. I'm going to go with Will Anderson. No, it's a surprise, but I'm going to go with Will.
But if you were the Texans, you would have took a quarterback.
I am the Texans. I'm taking Will Anderson.
Are you? Let me ask you a question. Are you doing your mock draft based off who you would take if you're the general manager of these teams, or who you think they would take?
No, I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to take a defensive player because they need help everywhere.
All right, cool.
They're a team that needs help everywhere. So that's all I'm trying to say.
So let's make this simple and easy. We'll get right on to the number 3 pick. Oh, my God. Hold on. Give me a second. So Arizona, this is the pick where – listen, I think when we watch this draft tonight, I think probably 2nd and 3rd pick maybe both get traded, but we'll see how that all plays out. I think this is a glaring trade spot, definitely, especially with the Texans not taking the quarterback either in your mock draft or a lot of other ones and what you're hearing. Arizona might have one of the worst rosters in all football. Budda Baker doesn't want to play there anymore. DeAndre doesn't want to play there anymore. Maybe those guys get traded tonight or tomorrow. They need prospects. They need players. They need to kind of rebuild this roster.
Yeah.
I think other than Will Anderson and Jalen Carter, maybe the guy who has the biggest upside as a defensive player is the kid Tyrese Wilson. He kind of reminds me of a little bit of like Nick Bosa. I'm trying to think of another guy who was like long, lanky.
Chase Young.
6'7", like 275.
Are you taking him?
I'm leading toward it. That's why I'm kind of going with this. So the Arizona Cardinals, which we don't do trades, with their 3rd pick, I have them taking the edge rusher from the Texas Tech Red Raiders, Tyree Wilson. Now, I think it'd be a shock or a surprise, but I look at it and go, they need potential. They need a guy that could have a lot of upside. I think a cornerback could be a possibility, but Tyrese Wilson, D-end out of Texas Tech with the number 3 pick.
So this is where it gets interesting because now the Colts are on the board at 4. There's 3 quarterbacks still available: CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis. A new head coach, Shane Steichen from the Philadelphia Eagles. What kind of guy do they want? He just had reigning almost MVP Jalen Hurts. Does he want a guy like Anthony Richardson? But this is also a team that is in the situation where you can't almost look for a rebuild. I guess you can if you want, in the sense of wait and see with the quarterback because you still got Gardner Minshew under contract. I think my roommate Frank's not going to like this. He's going to lose his mind. But with all the rumors, I'm going with quarterback Will Levis from the University of Kentucky. I know this is where everything gets a little crazy because you got Anthony Richardson, you got the potential, but I think Will Levis is a tough, hard-nosed player. Didn't have a lot of guys at Kentucky. Had one of the worst offensive lines, was always beat up, didn't have Wan'Dale Robinson. His running back was out for the first month or so they didn't really have many weapons on that team. Guy's very talented. And I'm not going to lie, I got to rep the 203 because he is from the state of Connecticut. So I'm going with quarterback Will Levis for the Indianapolis Colts.
All right, so number 5, Seattle Seahawks. Can go a ton of different ways. Pete Carroll loves cornerbacks, big physical cornerbacks. You got 2 cornerbacks that are easily going to be drafted in the top 10, and Devin Witherspoon and Christian Gonzalez. You still might have the best player in all the draft, Jalen Carter, on the board. And then you still have 2 quarterbacks. Now, this is my mock draft. This is what I would do if I'm the Seattle Seahawks because I have another first-round pick in 20 overall. The Seattle Seahawks with their number 5th pick in the first round take CJ Stroud out of Ohio State. Whoa, the crowd goes wild, everyone.
That would be
the way I
nice.
look at it is this.
Yeah.
Do they probably take him? Probably not. the reports that I've read, at least from McShay and everything, they're not really interested in Jalen Carter, even though he fits what they are looking for, an interior pass rush.
Yeah.
But I look at it this way. I look at the bigger picture. You have Geno Smith, a veteran quarterback. They just signed a 3-year deal with him, but it's more a year-to-year deal. I don't expect the Seattle Seahawks, and this is how the Seattle Seahawks should look at it, being drafted in the top 5. If you can get a quarterback for your future right now in the top 5, or a guy who easily has the potential to be the number 1 pick of this draft, you take him. You sit C.J. Stroud for a year behind Geno Smith. If, God forbid, Geno Smith gets hurt, you bring in C.J. Stroud. Similar quarterbacks. Very similar quarterbacks if you think of it. Geno had a little athleticism. C.J. Stroud, very good pocket passers. It would allow him to develop, learn behind Pete Carroll for a year. Now the Seattle Seahawks set up their future for the next 10 to 15 years. You do this because you think bigger picture. I get it, Jalen Carter, defensive backs, Nolan Smith, guys that could be possibly. But I'm going with C.J. Stroud in my mock draft today.
Okay. I like it. I like the pick. The Detroit Lions. This was the original LA Rams pick before the Matthew Stafford trade. The Detroit Lions, after a successful season, did not make the playoffs, but right on the cusp of making the playoffs. They're just adding to now can't believe we're saying it, is a very talented team and a team that's going to be a reckon with in the NFC for years to come. They lost Cam Sutton. It's just, what corner do they want? What the reports are saying, they love the cornerback. And this is what my selection is going to be. From the University of Illinois, Devon Witherspoon. Like I said, they lost Cam Sutton, or they picked up Cam Sutton, lost Jeffrey Okudah. You can add defensive line if you want to. You can add this is a team that's going defense, whether it's Gonzalez or it's Witherspoon. I'm going to go with Devon Witherspoon. I personally like Christian Gonzalez. I think Witherspoon fits more of the mold for Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn and this team. So I'm going with cornerback from the University of Illinois, Devon Witherspoon.
Well, you know, what do I get now? I get the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, this is where I could get tricky. Have fun with this. I could easily go Anthony Richardson. I would have fun with this. Young, athletic, huge upside. This is what the Raiders would do.
And they got Jimmy G.
This is what the Raiders love to do. They love to make the big splash, throw a wrinkle in the draft. But I'm changing the game here with the Las Vegas Raiders. We need a solid player. We need a cornerback. We need someone to defend the pass. We got Justin Herbert. We got Russell Wilson. We got Patrick Mahomes. We need someone to defend the pass. You don't really need pass rush because they have Chandler.
Don't forget they got to play against your boy Russell Wilson too.
I know I just said that if you listen to what I said. You have Chandler Jones. You have Max Crosby. You have good pass rush. I thought about going Jalen Carter. I thought Nolan Smith. But I'm going to take – there's a difference like you were just saying. The top 2 cornerbacks are at a different level where everyone else is. I think you take the next best cornerback and maybe in some people's eyes the number 1 cornerback. So with the 7th pick, the Las Vegas Raiders take Christian Gonzalez from Oregon. Big, athletic, physical, strong. I think it fits the mold of what the NFL is looking for in cornerbacks. Can do it all, play outside, and it sets up the Raiders, to where, like, man, they just give up so much in the pass. Me personally, I know that Gonzalez, I like Gonzalez. I love Joey Porter. I think he's going to be the best corner out of this class, but this is a very stout cornerback class. You really can't go wrong. There's a lot of great depth in later rounds, even in it's day 2, day 3. But I love the pick. I think it's a solid pick. I think Gonzalez could go as high as 3 to the Cardinals because they do need help losing Patrick Peterson. I think the only everywhere.
But I like this pick. Good value.
I think the only argument you could make toward me is you still have possibly the best player in this draft sitting right there. You could put Jalen Carter, which probably is not a good idea putting him in Vegas considering his off-field issues.
Probably not.
But now you put Jalen Carter in the center of that defensive line with Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. Now you're talking about, hell, with the pass defense. That pass rush is going to be ferocious, at least for the next couple of years. And that's one way Trev, to be able to beat these elite quarterbacks is the pass rush. So, but you're up at number 8 with the Atlanta Falcons.
See, I could be really interesting here and fascinating and throw a major curveball in this draft.
I did.
Because of the fact that, like, this team had a really nice offseason. They've added a lot on defense. Jesse Bates, they just signed Bud Dupree. They've re-signed Chris Lindstrom. They've added pieces to this. If they ever could get Kyle Pitts going offensively, this team could be maybe the winner of the NFC South. I'm going to be a little crazy here. I know that they have, and people might call me crazy, which is fine. I don't care. Tyler Algiero is a solid running back, but I'm going to go with running back Bijan Robinson from the University of Texas. You get this kid in this offense. Arthur Smith loves to run the football. Like I said, they've improved in the interior, defense, and offensive line. You get a major weapon with Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Desmond Ridder. Guess what? You get Desmond Ridder. I know he's going to get a chance to play, but you get a nice running back for him. Comfort. Ask Daniel Jones what it's like to have a great running back to help out.
So you,
Bijan Robinson, all the reports that say he's the next great. This can be a shocking pick, but I'm going to go with running back Bijan Robinson from Texas.
well, you definitely threw me a little wrinkle, but that's what's fun about us going back and forth.
Hey, it's our mock draft. Is this really going to happen, all of them? Probably not.
Would you like to know, just quick, would you like to know who I chose at 8 or no? You don't give a shit?
Nope, don't care.
Okay. Cool. I didn't think so either. I knew you were going to say that anyways. I don't even know why I bother even asking. I should tell you anyways. I should just tell you anyways. But
so just tell me then.
I went Nolan Smith. I think they need pass rush. I thought Nolan Smith would make a lot of sense. Played at Georgia from the area.
I got you.
So I think a lot of upside. They need pass rush. Now, I'll tell you one thing. I think if one of those two cornerbacks, Devin Witherspoon or Christian Gonzalez, are there, I think they run to the board.
That changes mine.
And then team him up with A.J. Terrell, the cornerback that they took a couple years out of Clemson.
So
number 9. So number 9, I think it's not obvious. It's just the obvious becomes: do they take offensive line and help out Justin Fields and protect, or do they take pass rush? Me, I just think it makes too much sense. You have to take the best player in the draft. This doesn't come down to need; it becomes the best available. It's Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter becomes the number 9 pick for the Chicago Bears. Plain and simple. He honestly is probably the best player in this draft class by far. He can, when he's on the football field, he's one of the most dominant football players in the game. Quick first step, big, strong, athletic, great use of hands. So I thought about Skoronski out of Northwestern, even though he's not a tackle, you can put him at guard. But Jalen Carter with the number 9 pick for the Chicago Bears.
Sounds good. So I get to go. Luckily, I get to pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. One of 2 picks in this first round. A team that just came off of a Super Bowl.
You get both their picks.
I know I do. I think they could go offensive line. If Bijan was here, I think that Bijan was an option. Could go edge rusher here too as well.
That's where I went, Bijan.
I'm going to go with offensive lineman utility guy, Peter Skoronski. I think they can add pieces. Jason Kelsey's going to be leaving. They just lost one of the linemen left guard to, I forgot where he ended up signing, but they're getting older in that offensive line. Lane Johnson's getting older. Jason Kelsey's going to be retiring soon. You can only add depth, and you just signed Jalen Hurts to a mega deal. So you want to keep your franchise healthy. Go add pieces to the interior defense or offensive line. Like I said, if Bijan was there, I would have strongly considered Bijan here, but I'm going offensive lineman Pete Skoronski.
I'm surprised you didn't even go Nolan Smith too, because I know you liked him too. And I'll tell you, I had Bijan going here, but it makes sense, Trev. They lost their guard. I believe their guard went to the Titans. I'm not even going to try some
Isaac Samuel.
Yeah, so that makes sense. They look at him as maybe the best blocker in this class of offensive linemen. The problem is he's more of a guard than a tackle. But guess what? Ask the Cowboys what they think about Zach Martin. So I got the 11th pick. Last quarterback's coming off the board.
Now this is a possible trade. This is a possible trade team.
This is a possible trade up or trade back, all depending on circumstances.
Yeah.
But yes, with the 11th pick, the Tennessee Titans take my guy, Anthony Richardson from the Florida Gators. I just think it makes too much sense. You still got Ryan Tannehill for a year. He sits, he plays, he learns, blah, blah, blah. His upside is through the roof. He could do it all. We'll find out if he can, but I just think this makes too much sense for the Titans. They need a quarterback. Malik Willis is not the quarterback for the future. Yeah, they could go offensive line. Yeah, they could go pass rush. Stop. Just go get the quarterback. Go get the quarterback. Though you do make a good point when you said trade back, because you look at the next teams. If the Texans If they do take a quarterback too, we'll see what happens there. See, that's where it becomes tricky now. But yes, I'll take Anthony Richardson with the 12th pick for the Tennessee Titans. That's at least that's where I went in my mock draft.
All right. So this gets interesting for me now because the Texans don't have an option at quarterback. I'm not reaching for Hendon Hooker. Maybe they could trade back in this situation. But this is also a team, like I said, that could trade up into the top 10. But since we are not doing trades, I took Will Anderson, took a chance because I thought one of the 4 quarterbacks would be there, and none of them are there. So I'm thinking this team right now, and this is what I said. There's a better quarterback class next year. You could go for Drake May. You could go for Caleb Williams. This team is not competing yet. You're going to maybe this is another rebuild. I know you got Davis Mills. I know you got Case Keenum, and it's nothing pretty to be happy about. But I'm going to give him a weapon. And I'm going to go with the number 1 receiver in my class. That's me personally. And Ted's favorite receiver.
Jackson Smith-Njigba.
I'm going with Jackson Smith-Njigba from the University of Ohio State. You can only add pieces. This team, yes, quarterback is right there. But now that all 4 are gone, this team just needs help everywhere. They lost Brandon Cooks in the offseason. You can look for the future next year in a better quarterback class with Caleb Williams and Drake May coming out. I'm going receiver. To me, the best receiver, Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Nice. I like it, kid. Got the same pick as I did, so at least we're on the same page with that. I love the.
Well, it would have never been that if I had one of the quarterbacks, it would have been different.
Would you have taken A.R. Richardson?
If he was there, yes. If he was there, yes.
In your mock draft. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 13th pick. Now, it was the New York Jets. We know that was traded 2 days ago swapped through the Green Bay Packer trade with Aaron Rodgers. So here's where I look at this. I see 3 possibilities, but really 2. The 3 possibilities, of course, is always defensive line. They could always use more pass rush.
They don't need any more defensive players. They draft defense every year.
I know, but they can. Offensive line, David Bakhtiari's coming off like multiple injuries. The offensive line, that's another way of helping your quarterback. But you know the way I look at the NFL now is, hell with the offensive line. Let's get him weapons. I'm taking Dalton Kincaid, the best receiving tight end in this draft class out of Utah. As long as his medicals all cleared, which seem to have passed to everything you've heard, I'm taking him. They need a tight end. Robert Tonyan left. You get a vertical, athletic tight end. And you used to joke about this when we used to talk about this in our first mock draft. Your favorite friend for a quarterback is a tight end.
It's not a dog. It's a tight end.
It's a tight end. So with the 13th pick, the Green Bay Packers take tight end Dalton Kincaid from the Utah Utes.
I get to go with the Patriots. This is a team that you could add a receiver here, help out Mac Jones. You lost Jacoby Myers in the offseason. You picked up Juju. I get it. I was going to go with another tight end too because I know they like to run that 2 tight end set sometimes in New England.
They need offensive
but I'm going to go.
help.
But they could use offensive line help. Absolutely, they could use secondary. Joey Porter's an option. They could use edge rusher as well. Definitely can use that with Matthew Judon, who was a stud last year. Ooh, I got some options. They could go safety, Brian Branch. I'm going to go with my guy outside edge rusher, Nolan Smith. I think you could team him up with Matthew Judon with that speed. I mean, he ran a 4.3, almost a sub 4.4. Like, come on, that's freaking ridiculous, these edge rushers now. You put him and Judon off the edge. That defense has been the backbone for that team for the past 23 years since I've been watching them. I know they had a great quarterback named Tom Brady, but they've always relied on that great defense. You know that Bill will do a fantastic job with this kid because of the fact that he's a mastermind. Could go offense, could go safety, could go corner, O-line, could go add a receiver. I'm going to go with edge rusher for the New England Patriots, Nolan Smith.
Nice. See, this is where I was a little upset doing my mock draft because I'm looking at things and it's not upset. But see, now I'm super happy because now you leave me as a New York Jet fan ecstatic. You took Nolan Smith. Good. I'm glad. Because now I'm going to go get the number 1 tackle in this class. The best left tackle in this class. That's what the Jets need. Now, listen, tight end could make some sense too. A guy like Michael Mayer, blocking, tight end, could also catch the ball. But we need offensive line. Let's protect this 39-year-old veteran quarterback. Let's go get out of Ohio State Left tackle, Paris Johnson Jr. for the 13th pick, 15th pick with the New York Jets. That's who the New York Jets should run up and take. Paris Johnson. He's huge. He's physical. Got good feet. As I know you picked Skronsky earlier at 10, but he's more of a guard than a tackle. You're going to have Elijah Vera Tucker coming back. Myers Becton's coming back. They need a left tackle. You move Becton to right tackle. Now you shore up that offensive line. Now we're starting to progress. And I'm a New York Jet fan. I go, perfect. I just hit on a huge need. I already have the weapons on the outside. I got my running back. My offensive line should be shored up a little bit. I got my star quarterback. Guess what? I still have the 43rd pick in the second round. This class has 8 tight ends. I can go get a guy like Luke Musgrave out of Oregon State with the 43rd pick later on. And now if I'm a Jet fan, I'm super ecstatic. I hit my tight end. I got my tackle. I got my quarterback. We're ready to roll if I'm a New York Jet fan. You at least as a Jet fan, you have to be pleased with
of course.
Because you haven't seen anything like this.
Your defense is already stout. You don't really need a lot of help on the defense. You can only add pieces if you wanted to. Your offense, you got Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard. You're getting your Brees Hall back. You're going to get Elijah Fair, like you already said. You can only add, and you got Aaron Rodgers. Go get some protection. You're on the cusp of maybe making playoffs, maybe a deep playoff run. Get protection. It's the most important thing, not name the quarterback in the NFL. I love the pick. I love every Ohio State pick. I'm not going to lie. Got to be a little biased. All right, so I'm going with the Washington Commanders. We're halfway through. Well, technically, it's only 31 teams this year because the Miami Dolphins lost their first-round pick. So we got 31 picks this year. So the Washington Commanders. I think I'm going to take this pick from you, and because I know the Steelers are coming up next. I don't know if you have him at 17, but I'm going to – they need corner help. They just lost Bobby McClain. They could use another corner. I'm going with, to me, the best corner in this draft. Sorry, Steeler fans. You're not going to get the son of a Steeler legend in Joey Porter. You're not going to. It's just not happening. But 16th pick, the Washington Commanders select cornerback Joey Porter Jr. Like I said, I think this kid is an overall. He's just a great football player. When you look at the tape, you don't need the measurements. You don't need can the guy play football? This kid plays football. It runs in the family. This kid is a great football player. That's what you want in today's game. You just want football players that can play the game, tough, hard-nosed, stay healthy, availability. This kid does it all. I love this kid. I think this kid's going to be a stud. I think he might eventually be the best corner in this draft. I'm going with Joey Porter Jr.
No, you didn't steal my guy.
Okay,
I didn't have him.
Then it's on you then.
I had him taking Peter Skronsky. Sure up the offensive line. Help a young quarterback in the running game.
He's gone a while.
Yeah, I'll tell you, here's that would be another pick where maybe Bijan goes.
Okay.
I'm just saying. So 17, Steelers. So you left me 2 tackles. In my original mock draft, I had him going. I had Broderick Jones originally in my mock draft going 15 to the Jets because I had Paris Johnson going to the Patriots. But now that guy falls. Now, for me, the Steelers are taking a tackle. They need to shore up the offensive line. That's their biggest weakness. The question is, who do they take? Left tackle Broderick Jones, who didn't give up a sack all last year, for over 450 snaps, or do they take the best right tackle in the game or out of this class, Darnell Wright, who really started out really slow in his first 3 years at Tennessee, but really kind of hit his number this year in Tennessee. Now, I don't know if it's what they're looking for, right tackle or left tackle. I think if it's left tackle, you hit Broderick Jones. If it's right tackle, it's Darnell Wright. I'll do it because of what I have here. I think they're looking at right tackle. I have them taking Darnell Wright, the right tackle out of Tennessee. In my mock draft, what I have on my piece of paper right here. So I have Darnell Wright, tackle out of the University of Tennessee for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And now you're up with the 18th pick, again, with the Detroit Lions, who you originally took in the first round, Devin Witherspoon, the cornerback out of Illinois.
I did. Now, yes, you already have the defense. I'm going offense. I'm going on the side of offense right now. It's a very simple pick. And it's surprising that this kid is falling because this was supposed to be the number one guy at this position. I'm going with, and they just lost this guy. They just lost the guy in last year to a trade. They can use him. I'm going with tight end Michael Mayer from the University of Notre Dame. I know that it might be some people say, oh, this kid's fallen. But guess what? They lost TJ Hawkinson. They're going to need another tight end. They don't. I know Darnell Washington's possibility later in the second round.
I had them taking up. I was going to just tell you, Vegas, I just looking at the predictor. Vegas has the over-under on Mayer 23.5.
Okay. So it's a little up. What's up?
I had them taking another defensive player in this
Okay.
draft. I had them taking the D lineman out of Pittsburgh, Clay Cansey, interior pass rush.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Because I
That's
looked at it this way. You got your quarterback, you shirt up, and now you add another pass rusher. Fast, athletic guy, similar guy to Aaron Donald, who can you team up with Aiden Hutchinson. So that's why I went defense in the Detroit thing, because I look at their offense going, they still can get a tight end later on. The offense is already really good. Let's shore up that defensive line, that defense, because I think the more pressing need is defense. But I like your pick. Solid guy,
Thank you.
right?
I appreciate it.
Solid guy. He can block. He's the best blocking tight end coming out of this. But he's a good catcher of the ball. I don't think you're going to get big numbers out of him in the receiving, but I think you're going to get a solid player for 10 years. Okay, 19th pick. This is a really tough one for me. Really tough one. But
Good.
now things change for me. I'll tell you what I originally wrote down, and then how I'm going to change my pick based on our mock draft. So Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the 19th pick, I had originally selected when I did my mock draft last night and put it all together before we did this, was I had an edge rusher, Miles Murphy. Shaq Barrett's coming off a major injury. They kind of lost their
identity.
They kind of lost their identity and mojo of what made them really successful when Brady was their quarterback. I had Miles Murphy. I thought a guy that easily could go at number 10 to Eagles, could go anywhere, I think, in this first round. Big, physical, strong, athletic guy, good first step. But now because he's fallen, I think in this situation, I'm going to swap my pick, and I'm going to take the left tackle, Broderick Jones, out of Georgia. I think you just lost your left tackle this past season.
Donovan Smith, yeah.
Donovan Smith. So, listen, we need to get younger in the offensive line. Let's try to help Baker. Let's try to help the team. Listen, we know about building in the trenches. I think there might be more depth in the defensive pass rushing that we can find in the later rounds for Tampa Bay. But if Broderick Jones is there, I'm going to have him going to number 19 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Cool. Okay. So I'm back with the Seattle Seahawks for the second pick, where they took number 5. They took C.J. Stroud, and a bit of a shock in the early top 5.
Well, that's what I did.
Yeah, that's fine. Which is it's a great possibility. There's definitely a defensive pick. It's just where, like, who are they taking? Are they taking interior? Are they going to take edge rusher? With the way the NFL is transitioning now with these interior defensive linemen, athletic, strong, quick off the ball, Dexter Lawrence, Quentin Williams, Aaron Donald, dominant guys, Jeffrey Simmons, Deron Payne. I'm just naming some of the few elite guys in this league, and how quick and how dominant they can impact these games now. It's not just you need the edge rushers. You can win with having a dominant inside guy. But if you can find a guy
who can do a little bit of both, who can play like who can play inside and outside, like a J.J. Watt.
I'm going with, and this guy starred at the combine with his 4.78 40 that's amazing. That's incredible for a 300-pound guy to run a 4.78. I'm going with defensive tackle from the University of Pittsburgh, Kalijah Cansey. If Jalen Carter the reason why I took him, because I feel like Jalen Carter will be in play at 5 for them, and they want to use a defensive pick. One of these guys is going to be a defensive pick. I'm going with Kalijah Cansey with the number 20 pick. So, Ted, we're starting to get into the 20s and the LA Chargers. We only got one receiver. I'm looking right now. We got 2 tight ends off the board. We got we got the quarterbacks gone. Still one left that we all feel is going to get drafted. There's going to be 5 at least. The corners, offensive linemen, but only one receiver. It's got to tell you something about the receiver. Do we start seeing him now with the Chargers and the Ravens in back-to-back picks, or are you going in a different direction with the Bolts?
I'll tell you, I had Seattle taking Lucas Van Ness because of his versatility and size, can play inside and outside. I could see Seattle. No, I'm saying in the Seattle pick. Okay. I could see Miles Murphy because a bigger physical. I feel like Cansey's maybe not the type of deep pass rusher, the interior guy that they need. But we don't know that, right? We don't know what the hell they're thinking. You looking at my mock draft, bro? Were you peeking over this mock draft? I'm just wondering. Okay, so the Chargers are up at 21. Let's not waste time on this. Let's get weapons for my quarterback. Let's maintain. I think Bijan
doesn't have enough weapons.
I think if Bijan is there, that's definitely a possibility considering the Austin Eckler deal. right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to take maybe the second best route runner in this class. Former Biletnikoff winner. Wide receiver from USC, Jordan Addison, going to the LH Chargers. That's who I had going number 21, Jordan Addison.
Okay. I like
Nothing else more to say. I'm not going to make it complicated. I'm not going to get into all his numbers and size. Let's get him an interior. Keenan Allen kind of reminds me of maybe a little bit smaller than Keenan Allen, but similar receiver. Great route runners, great hands, can run the whole route tree. Keenan Allen's getting older, always dealing with injuries.
All right, cool.
I think it makes perfect sense for the Chargers.
This makes it simpler for me too as well. With the Ravens, it's very simple. They just signed Odell Beckham Jr. We know about the big elephant in the room in the NFL right now is Lamar Jackson going to be a Raven or is he going to be playing elsewhere? If you're getting him back, get him some weapons. Now you got two guys still available. It's just what's your flavor? You want the big outside guy that you can throw it to the end zone, take those shots, or do you like the guy that could do everything? I'm going to go with 22nd pick, wide receiver, Zay Flowers. I think this kid is a possibility going number 14 with the New England Patriots, but I feel like with that team and the way that Bill Belichick likes to run things, he always likes those defensive players. But Zay Flowers could be in play as high as 14 with the Patriots. I think this kid has everything working for him. I think this is a kid that can excel in this league. You could put him in the slot. You could put him on the outside. And with the way slot receivers are becoming more valuable as well, just like the defensive tackle, you can never get enough of them. You have two guys like that, him and Beckham, with Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, J.K. Dobbins, and you get Lamar Jackson back. You got something nice. You got quickness. You got speed, and you can work with speed. And guess what, Ted? You can't teach speed.
Yeah. I had Joey Porter Jr. here. I thought another cornerback to team up, a physical receiver to go.
I get it.
With Marlon Humphrey.
You get the interesting. See, now you get the Viking. I'm going to toss you out right over here because this is where it gets interesting. Do we see them? Yeah. Do we see them start going defense? Because they could use defense. Or do we get that fifth quarterback drafted in the first round? Or is that what we're signing? Is that what the signs are pointing to?
So with the 23rd pick, let's not get crazy. We need a quarterback for the future. If this guy doesn't tear his ACL, he's easily in the top 10. I think he competes for the second or third quarterback in this class. Truthfully, that's where his potential was leading by the end of the season. Heisman candidate. I'm taking the older veteran quarterback from the University of Tennessee, Hendon Hooker. You sit him behind Cousins for one more year, learns, plays, develops, blah, blah, blah. You get your quarterback for the future. So with the 23rd pick, the Minnesota Vikings take Hendon Hooker, quarterback, Tennessee.
Okay, so I'm going defense.
Would you have gone differently?
I could either go defense on that. You can add offensive line. But yeah, you're at the time right now that you've seen the best of Kirk Cousins. That's all you're getting from him. It's time to think of the future. You're going to have Justin Jefferson long term. You got to start thinking future. And then Hooker's there. Possible trade where Vikings could move up to if they wanted to, if they feel that that's their guy. But Hendon Hooker, I like the pick. I think this kid could be solid. And he doesn't have to go right in and start.
See, here's the other thing. Before I would say not trade up. See, I would say trade back because they don't have that many picks. You trade back. So say guys like, say one of the receivers falls, or like we got Lucas Van Ness still on the board, Miles Murphy. God forbid Michael Mayer drops. That's where you could see like Dallas maybe going up to 23. And you know what I mean? Because they need extra potential. Hendon Hooker, I think if he's still there at 23, Jacksonville's not taking him. The Giants ain't taking him. Dallas isn't taking him. Cincinnati's not taking him. So it makes sense that you can drop back. I mean, the Saints, Eagles, and Kansas City, none of those quarter teams are taking a quarterback. So that's where you either see a team in the early second round trade back in, or like in Minnesota sense, trade back out and get as much value if there's a guy that like you said, Zay Flowers, one of the pass rushers, maybe one of the cornerbacks drops. Now you're looking, okay, go get your guy. We'll go get more picks and value down the road. So, yeah, go ahead. But you're at the 24th pick. You got the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yep, I am the 24th pick. Team that is fully out of the rebuild mode. Now it's just adding pieces, whether you want to add offensive linemen and help out your quarterback, which is a possibility here, or you add to that defense, which was one of the worst rated defenses in the league. There's two players that I have in mind. So with the 24th pick, I'm going to go with safety / cornerback Brian Branch. And why I say safety / cornerback, because he can play both, ladies and gentlemen. He can play the safety, but he can also play the slot. He can be a guy that's a hybrid in today's NFL where he can go after the quarterback. He can play against your tight end. He can guard your outside guy. He can do it all for Alabama. If you go watch this kid was all over the field for the Crimson Tide. And I think this will be a great pick. I think a possibility with Deontay Banks here as well, Osiris Torrance to help out Trevor Lawrence in that protection. But I'm going to go with Brian Branch, safety out of Alabama. So, Ted, you get the honors of picking out the New York Giants for the first time in 10 plus years. The New York Giants are not picking in the top 5, it feels like.
You took a guy that would possibly – I didn't have taken him. I went –
There's a possibility there.
Zay Flowers is a possibility, I think. I think in this situation, the Giants are not taking Quentin Johnson. I don't think he fits the Giants scheme.
Well, they have a guy like that, and Isaiah Hodgins.
Yeah, and I just don't think it's the type of guy the Giants are looking for. So I went defensive back here.
There we go.
Okay?
Give it to me. Give me the guy. Give me him.
I took the kid out of Maryland.
Yes.
With the 25th pick, and I really have it here. I have the New York Giants selecting Deontay Banks from Maryland. Listen, had a really good season this year. He's a big physical cornerback, 6'2". He ran a 4.35 in the combine. Does really well in zone coverage. Got beat up a little bit last year in man coverage, but I think when you look at the Giants, you look at the coaching, what they can do for these corners, they're going to put the guy in the right position. Listen, we're in a division where you got the Eagles, the Cowboys, Washington. They have a lot of weapons on the outside. We got a really stout defensive line. We just signed 2 days ago with Ashawn Robinson. We got Dexter. We got Tibbs. We got pass rush. Yeah, I love a linebacker. I think it's too early.
You got Bobby Okikere, who are new signing. I think
a linebacker for the Giants is really too early right now at 25. There's not a guy that's pressing need. Maybe in the second round. Maybe a guy like Drew Sanders if he falls from Arkansas. But let's shore up that pass defense, which wasn't that great for the Giants.
And they're very they're very thin right now.
I think if Zay Flowers falls or Jordan Addison is there, I think that's a realistic possibility. I don't think you can have enough weapons for our team. But in this situation where our draft board falls, it's Deontay Banks from Maryland with the 25th pick. So, Trev, you get your second favorite team in the world, the Dallas Cowboys at 26.
My second. Yeah, this is my first favorite team in the world. This is the Dallas Cowboys. I get the Philadelphia Eagles, I get the Washington Commanders, and I get the Dallas Cowboys all in the same draft, but I don't get the Giants. It's just fascinating. By the way, I love that pick. I would be very thrilled if the Giants got Deontay Banks or Brian Branch. Or one of if Zay Flowers were to fall, those would be my three guys. Probably Addison would be fourth. Jackson Smith would be the dream scenario, but it's not happening.
I also think if you're going cornerbacks, I also think Emmanuel Forbes.
Yeah,
skinny, but he's long and lengthy. And if you watch him at Mississippi State this year,
he just gets picks. The ball, he's a magnet.
And that's one thing I don't think the Giants, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's something the Giants did not do really well in the secondary last year was have interceptions and cause turnovers in that sense.
So let's close out the top 6 in their NFL 2023 first round mock draft. Keys to the City. You can check out Keys to the City on all social media platforms at Keys to the City. So the Dallas Cowboys. This is another easy pick for me. I'm going with tight end Darnell Washington. I'm going to go with Darnell Washington. Big athletic freak. He's that's fine. It's the Dallas Cowboys. He's a big athletic freak, and they lost Dalton Schultz. You got CeeDee Lamb. You got Tony Pollard. I know he might be out for a majority of the season, but you still have weapons. You got Dak. You got Brandon Cooks, newly acquired Brandon Cooks. Now you need a tight end. It was either him or Musgrave. I like the addition because of the fact that he's just a big outside guy that you can use on the outside too. He's fast. He's athletic. He didn't get enough credit because he was playing with the guy that's going to be a top 10, top 5 pick next year in Brockers. And for Georgia. If you ever watched Georgia, Washington was a stud jumping over players, but the kid Brockers was getting all the attention. So I'm going with Darnell Washington for the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, nice. I'm sorry. I was reading something as you were talking, so I wasn't interrupted.
So let's finish up the top. Let's finish up the final
Okay, so
five.
I got the 27th pick. I got the Buffalo Bills. I think two possibilities here. Now, based on our thing, Miles Murphy, and Lucas Van Ness make perfect sense for them. Need extra pass rush because you saw, much as Von Miller was missed, what was something they could not do in that divisional round? They couldn't get pressure on Joe Burrow. So both guys make sense.
But they couldn't also protect Josh Allen.
Yeah, that too. But I don't see a pressing need at all.
They had 5 sacks against them in that playoff game.
Yeah, I get it. Now, here's the thing. The Bills only have 6 picks this year. So I could see this being another huge trade spot. I think in this situation, because we're not doing trades and it just now reading and changed my whole mind, I'm switching my draft. And not really because I'm just going to go to a different guy. I had a receiver going 27 because they need a complimentary guy to Diggs. All right. Gabe Davis is in his contract year. They really don't have another 2, 3. They really don't. If you think about the Buffalo Bills, as much as we all love, who's their big time players? Really? Like, other than Diggs, who do they have? They don't have a good running back. They don't have a good tight end. They don't have a number 2.
Dawson Knox is all right.
Stop it.
I said all right. I didn't say he was elite.
Trevor, he barely did anything last year, even in fantasy. They don't have a number
fantasy. We're not talking fantasy.
Yeah. They didn't produce. And who's their number 2 receiver? Really? I mean, I ran the Gabe Davis last year.
Isaiah McKenzie. Isaiah McKenzie's gone. He's not even on the team anymore.
So he sucks. So I had in my originals Zay Flowers. He's gone. You took him earlier. So I'm going to go with another receiver. I'm going to take the 4th receiver in this class. Give me the big, physical, strong wide receiver out of TCU. The Buffalo Bills with their 27th pick take Quentin Johnson at 27. You need a complimentary receiver. This league is about weapons, bro. Like, if we haven't seen anything, get him as many weapons as you possibly can so Josh Allen doesn't have to run around the field and take on linebackers. Get him guys. Get a guy that can.
That's a surprise. That's a bit of a surprise. Okay.
You think so?
I think so. I don't think he fits the mold there, but I get it. Team him up with Diggs.
Gabe Davis. He's 6'3", 250.
Well, I understand where you're coming from because you could also put Gabe Davis in the slot, and if we all do remember, Gabe Davis flourished in that divisional game where he had 200 yards and 4 touchdowns against the Chiefs in that classic. So I get it, but I would have saw maybe running back here, maybe Jahmyr Gibbs from Alabama, offensive lineman here. Okay, so I get the Bengals.
You got to get weapons, bro.
Bengals for me, very simple. There's 2 positions that they could go here because they did lose tight end. They also lost tight end with Jaden Hurst. What's his name? Yeah, Hayden Hurst.
Hayden Hurst.
Yeah, Aiden Hurst. Is it Aiden or Kate? I forgot.
Hayden. Hayden.
Yeah, lost him in free agency. They also could go offensive lineman because they have some problems with their offensive line in the sense of Jonah Williams has been trying to demand a trade. So they could go 2 directions here.
Yeah, did you see Leo Collins? He had successful surgery, but his foot is a major issue right now. So they also need secondary help.
Well, they did. Yes, that is true. They did also add. Yeah, they lost Jesse Bates. I think Brian Branchy was there. Could be a possibility. Yeah, Leo Collins is out. He did pick up Orlando Brown. I'm gonna go with offensive tackle Anton Harrison Jr. from Oklahoma. Either Osiris Torrance was a possibility too here, but I'm going to go with tackle because Jonah Williams is demanding the trade. Leo Collins is dealing with the injury. So they might go into the season with Orlando Brown and without Leo Collins and Jonah Williams. So you're going to have to get that right side of that line figured out because Orlando Brown is going to be playing left tackle for them. So I'm going to go with Anton Harrison Jr. from the Oklahoma Sooners.
I had Emmanuel Forbes in this situation, but
he was a possibility too.
Yep. Yes, I got it. So now the 29th pick, the Saints. There's no way these 2 guys I thought were falling this far, but in both ours, they're both falling. I had a pass rusher, but I had the kid out of Northwestern. I'm not taking him now because I don't want to pronounce his name. Second of all, the other 2 guys I think are much better than he is.
Your honesty is so greatly appreciated.
Absolutely. So with the 29th pick, the New Orleans Saints take Lucas Van Ness from Iowa. Versatile, big, strong, physical, can play inside, can play outside. Kind of reminds me of a little bit of a Cameron Jordan. Similar. I think they could go Miles Murphy here. So here's my thing. I would have chose either one of them. In this situation, I'm going to take Lucas Van Ness.
Okay.
But I don't have a problem either way if someone was going to argue me with that point. But I think they pick pass rush. They shore up the defense line. I don't think any receiver at this point, if one of those guys falls, I don't think it really makes sense. Offensive line, I think it's a reach at this point where how our mock falls.
I mean, DeJuan Jones or Cyrus Torrance would be the best available lineman still.
And I think that they're second round guys. I think now you're reaching.
I don't know. I think Torrance could be a
I know, but still, I get it. But let's drop him. So now let's finish the last two. Let's finish strong
with our Super Bowl teams. Now we are officially in the Eagles again.
You have the Philadelphia Eagles at 30.
I have the Philadelphia Eagles again. So I got the Eagles all. I got the Dallas.
You have all the good teams.
Yeah, I got all the great NFC East teams except the Giants. If I was the Giants at that position, I probably would have done, Deontay Banks would have been my pick too. I would have said the same thing. So let's finish out with the Super Bowl teams. The Philadelphia Eagles take at number 10 Peter Skoronski from the University of Northwestern to shore up that offensive line at depth again. I think it's another position that you can add depth. In the NFL, there's a few positions that you can really go and add major depth and never can go enough with it. Defensive line, corner, receiver. I'm going to go with cornerback in this situation. I'm going to go with corner.
Whoa.
And I'm going to give you an opportunity.
Doesn't make any sense.
Why? They need corner help.
No, they don't. They re-signed their two cornerbacks. If anything,
they can use corner.
If you've learned anything about the Philadelphia Eagles, they build in the trenches.
They can use corner, though.
Brandon Graham's older last year deal. Fletcher Cox last year.
Okay, let me ask you then. Who are you taking, G?
Will McDonald or Miles Murphy? Absolutely.
Will McDonald had a farm? EIEIO?
Out of Iowa State. Will McDonald the fourth, or I'm taking Miles Murphy, who I could easily see them taking at 4, because if there's one thing I've learned about the Eagles, they want every pass rusher they could possibly have. Sue's probably gone. Fletcher Cox is on a 1-year deal. Brandon Graham's like 50 years old. He'll be gone. The only one they're really going to have, they just lost Javon Hargrave. So the only one they really have is Hassan Reddick. That's why I even thought like Nolan Smith at 10 made sense too, where you bookend your two pass rushers. I had him taking Bijan at 10. I love this Skoronski pick. Shore up the offensive line. Keep pounding it. But go ahead, take the cornerback.
I'm here. We're back.
Trev, I literally watching this going, this really can happen. We're literally on the second two picks. We had a great discussion.
I got it. I did.
Did I change your mind even though I'm not supposed to say
nothing? Yes. Because I understand where you're coming from.
Who would you have gone?
Emmanuel Forbes.
Okay.
I would have picked Emmanuel Forbes because you could put him in the slot. He's a turnover machine. Yes, you got Slay, but Slay's getting
slot corner though.
I know, but I get it. But you got Slay. Slay's getting older. You got Bradbury, 2 all-pro corners. You can only add depth there. And he's a turnover machine. And this is a team that was in the top 3 or top 2 for turnovers last year. I know you can add defensive line as well. You lose Hargraves. You lost pieces on this team. So, I'm going to go with – I changed my pick. Mid-pick, I went with edge rusher, Miles Murphy from the University of Clemson. We should probably hurry up and finish 31 before we go frozen again.
Yeah, I know. Well, so then now this just makes sense for me because now I can just slide down. So you and Miles Murphy, not a problem. All right. Now I had originally, I'm just going to tell you originally what I had. The Super Bowl champs, Kansas City Chiefs. I took in my original mock draft, the one I did, Quentin Johnson. I think they need a big physical receiver, someone to take the top off.
They lost Juju too.
So. They lost Juju. They don't have any anywhere. They also lost Hardman. Yeah. So I really don't even know who they have for receivers right now.
Travis Kelce, that's all they need.
Which is kind of crazy. But in this situation, Quentin Johnson is gone. That's what's fun about doing an alternating thing. So now I'll just slide my pick at 30 to 31. I originally had Will McDonald IV going to the Eagles. We'll just slide him one step below to 31. So with the 31st pick, the Kansas City Chiefs select Will McDonald IV out of Iowa State. They need pass rush. They need another guy to complement Chris Jones. They really do. They don't have much pass rush. They can use. And
they just lost Frank. Yeah, they just lost Frank Clark too. They released Frank Clark. So yes.
So it kind of makes sense. I think if one of those 4 or 5 receivers fall, makes sense. But you know what's great about the Chiefs is they find these. What's it? Dime a dozen. They find these beautiful little rocks in the second and third rounds, and they become like Tyreek Hill and other guys. And
I mean, they got the best center in football right now, Creed Humphrey, and it was like a
better than Jason Kelsey.
I mean, go look at
That's
Creed
a lot to
Humphreys.
say.
Go look at Creed Humphrey's numbers, man.
Oh, I know.
I'm not saying Jason Kelsey's not in the top 2.
But you have the best quarterback in the league, and when you have the best quarterback,
you have the best player in the league.
And I would be never shocked if the Chiefs find a receiver out of the second, like the kid, what's it, Nell or Dell out of Houston, the little kid.
Oh,
but he's
I forgot.
Super fast, like a guy like that, or
I feel like him or like a guy like Downs.
Josh Downs, maybe Mingo out of Ole Miss, guys that do really well.
Jonathan
maybe
Mingo.
Jalen Hyatt.
Jalen Hyatt with the speed. I think the kid Tillman, Cedric Tillman could be a nice
Tillman
piece.
from Tennessee.
There's a lot of receivers.
That's why I did not. That's why I did take Quentin Johnson in this one, but it makes more sense to take the pass rusher right now because, like you said, we just named 4 or 5 guys. That. Oh, and here's the other one, the kid Butte out of LSU, who like a year or two ago we were thinking as like a top 10 pick. He kind of fell, didn't really do well. Things kind of went downhill for him.
He fell
but that's a guy like he falls in the 3rd round next year. Like you'd be like, he's up for the rookie of the year. He's playing for he's playing for a team with a really good quarterback, and you're like, oh damn. And you're like, he had the talent. It just didn't work out in college. Things for unforeseen reasons didn't go well. But we just finished our mock draft.
Our 6th annual mock draft is officially first round. Is officially
not bad. We actually beat the clock. We beat the clock.
Well, we're still on. We're still on right now. So
we would have finished even better if it didn't freeze for about 2 minutes.
Yeah, can you believe that?
I'm trying to see.
I think the one pick that kind of was like, okay, I'm thinking about it is like, because we didn't do trades, so the Texans. I think the Texans one for me is a doozy.
Well, I think here's the thing: the 2nd and 3rd pick, Texans and Cardinals. One of the 2 are getting traded, if not both.
Yeah.
All right. I threw a wrinkle in with C.J. Stroud going 5, which probably won't happen. But you know what?
Yeah,
don't be shocked. It makes sense. You and me had talked about it. It makes sense. Even the guy like here's the other thing.
I think I surprised you. I think I surprised you with Bijan.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Richardson becomes a 5th pick. They look at the potential in a guy like that. I just think,
and that's the thing. Funny. Any one of those quarterbacks they take, whether it's Levis, Richardson, or Stroud, they could sit because they have Geno for at least a year or so. To at least we'll see. They'll ride it with Geno, and if it doesn't work, then they use one of the rookie guys.
I think 6, 7, 8 is where you're going to see the 2 cornerbacks come off, Witherspoon and Gonzalez. I think they're easily going by 10.
It's finally here, bro.
The funny part
hours away.
The funny part will be, where does Bijan go? Does he go to 10 to the Eagles? Does he?
I took a chance with that Falcons pick. I know people are going to bash me for it, but I really don't care because I think that's a team that is, you got a division.
They're a run-based offense.
And they got a very weak division, so might as well add another home run threat
Bijan,
to a team that already has young talent on there. Go add another guy like
Bijan,
that.
Drake London, right? You help out Desmond Ridder. You have a pretty solid offensive line. That's a nice, that's a nice piece. And they're a team that I believe, 55, 60% of the time they run the ball. So
yeah, Arthur Smith loves to run the football. I like how the draft went. I have no problem with it. And like I said, our mock draft may align with the actual first round. It may not even be close. But guess what? That's why we do mock drafts. That's why people do mock drafts. It's all projections. We don't know how everything's going to play out tonight. We don't know where there's going to be trades. We don't know if there's going to be 5 quarterbacks in the first round. We don't know how it's all going to play out, ladies and gentlemen. But it is finally here. All of the nonsense, all the rumors, all of the reports are finally out the window because the NFL draft is now on the dot. It's 3:00. It is 5 hours away from the actual NFL draft where somebody's name will finally be called and their life, will be drastically changed tonight. So it should be a hell of a night. It should be fun. I cannot wait. We are Keys to the City. Enjoy the draft. Enjoy the sports weekend as well. It's been wild time in sports right now. Enjoy it. We'll see you next episode. We are Keys to the City. We are out.